You have your sources. So let's just roll and understand what we have. I can say it in 5 minutes in a maskana, but then you wouldn't have seen anything. You just believe me. So you probably don't want to believe me. Okay, the Gemara, it all starts with the Gemara in Sanhedrin Samach Beis. They all dramatize. This is often a Gemara, where the Gemara says, L'baika it's razer acha, u'la'arv al yiteshatcha, that even if you have children when you're young, you have children when you're older age, because you never know who's going to succeed. And then the Gemara said the same thing is with Talmidim. The Gemara Mamish says, don't give up with having children or students, because you don't know who's going to succeed. And then it tells the story of Rebbe Akiva and his students. So let's read the Gemara. The Gemara says, here it is. The sign of Rebbe Shua Eimer, Nasa Adam Isha B'Yaldusai. Yaldusai, as we pointed out, I said Tinoikus does not mean when you're a child. It means when you're young. When I called you Tinoikus, it's like this Gemara. Yaldusai means when you're young. Okay? Unless you think, because these were, like in those days, got married at a very young age. Okay, could be, when they're babies. But Pashtus Yaldus means when you're young. Yisishibis Kenusai, when you're old, or rather older. It doesn't mean from 70, right? It means when, usually by 70, it's not going to help them too much. Okay, 70, 80, you know what I mean? So it means you're older. In the morning you should sow your seeds. And in the evening, don't relent. Don't let your hand go by. This is a pasuk in Mishlei because you won't know who will be worthy. If they're both worthy, it's really great. Rebbe Akiva Eimer, you learned when you were young, don't let it go. You may forget that once. You might as well start learning again. You always have to learn. Just because you had your 2-3 years in yeshiva, it ain't enough. You keep on learning. So it's almost like the retiring plan, right? You learn until 20, then you start from 65. That's what it says over here, right? Hayu tamidim b'yaldusai. So it's Yaldusai. So you see, Yaldusai does not mean before your bar mitzvah. I highly think that they didn't have Talmidim before their bar mitzvah. Bisman Ameg, Bisman Atalmud. It means when you were young. Okay? You Talmidim b'skenusai. Shenemar b'baikas razer acha. Amru. Shnemer elef zugim Talmidim hayler Rabbi Akiva. He had 12,000 chavrusas. Because they learned b'chavrusa. That's why they called it. Why are they called zugim? Because they were chavrusas. Very simple. Why are they mentioning they were chavrusas? You'll see in 2 minutes. Hayler Rabbi Akiva, migvat v'ad patris. Okay, that points out that was the Gvat. I remember was once I looked at it. Antipatris is near Petach Tikva. I have to look up where Gvat is. I forgot it, but it basically in the center of Eretz Yisrael. V'chulam meishu perek echad. They all died in one period of time. Mipnei shelo nogan kol v'zel lezet. That's why it says zugim. It doesn't mean that everyone had to stay for everyone. Everyone was with his chavrusa. It wasn't mechabedim. So the zugim were not mechabed each other. I just want you to explain the pashut of the Gemara, okay? It doesn't mean that everyone says everyone's a nobody. No, he's chavrusa. He said b'sta gornish, du b'sta gornish, weiter gornish, bleib gornish. Derech Hagav Maimar Musker, just to explain this, everybody understands. I was asked a question which I almost killed the asker. He says, how could it be? Rebbe Akiva said, "V'avtracha kamoicha" was major, mantra. How could they not follow the teachings of Rebbe Akiva? I looked at him and I says, do you love your 2-year-old baby? Yes. Yes. Do you honor him? Rabbi, you kidding? Honor 2 years old? He's got dirty diapers. So obviously love and honor are 2 separate emotions. Don't you understand that? And if you don't understand it, you need help. Okay? I can quote Rambam. Oyeva kegufa, mechabdu yosef kegufa, but I don't need that. I love my grandchildren. I do not honor them. Honor is a sense of hierarchy. Hello? Therefore, I'm sorry. It means respecting the unique character of a person. That's what it means. Therefore, you feel he has something I don't have. That's called honor. I don't think I have that with the local child. I honor you guys because I think you are unique personalities, and sometimes I've even learned from you a lot, so I honor you. I like you a hell of a lot, so but sometimes with chavrusas, you may like the guy. We go out for, good sport. If I'm not mechabed him. So he says, so what did happen? They all died. That's why it says zugim. I answered like a lot of questions. I'm doing drushes while I do this. It's great when you do this. So the world was totally desolate. What does that mean? Let's understand what these people were. There were 24,000 students. Now, the Mishnah said that out of every 1,000, one becomes a Yotzei Lahirua. That means there were going to be 24 Yotzei Lahirua. 24 new Tanoim on the page. Wow! A Shas. So we'll give a Shas, 24. Now, Lamaisa, we only have a Shas which started with 5 Tanoim. So can you imagine a Shas which is only of 25 Tanoim? It'd be 100 volumes instead of 20, a Machaya. It'd be great. You'd really have to stay more years in learning, because otherwise you wouldn't know anything. It would be unbelievable. Can you imagine? There were no more Tanoim. There was no more candidates for Tanoim. The place was dead. There was no future. There was no one around. What did he do? Torah was finished. Torah Shabbal Peh. There was no one to give it further to. Simple as that. Ad Shabar Rabbi Kiva, and already after he had, can you imagine? It actually means that we're 900 Levias daily. If they died equally. If they didn't divide equally, it was even worse. Can you imagine having 900 Levias of prominent students of Atana? Pretty bad. Okay? I'm just thinking about it. I'm thinking Rabbi Akiva must have been going nuts. Okay? Like 900, the numbers beyond. It's like 9/11, you know what I mean? 9/11 for 49 days. And stay sane. What happened? And so then he went to the southern people, which means the area of Bethlehem and down. It's called south. Negba means from Yerushalayim and further down. V'shonam lahem. And who were they? Rabbi Meir. They were very young then. Rabbi Yehuda. That's Rabbi Yehuda by Eloi. Okay? That's Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosi, and Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Lazar. Ben Shamua. Those were the Tanoim. And from them, V'heim aim emidu Torah b'Yisrael Shah. Your whole Torah comes from them. If you want to know the Mashal, the Gemara says in Eir Sanhedrin and Peivav, it's a very interesting Mashal. Stam Mishniten Reb Meir. Stam Tesefter Reb Nechemi. Zotamid Reb Akiva. Stam Sifra Reb Yehuda. Stam Sifri Reb Shimon. V'kulon alibad Reb Akiva. Whatever you have comes from the 5. So the whole B'Sorah Torah Shabbal Peh that we have today comes from 5 Tanoim. I want this to understand. Okay, in other words, what really happened, the tragedy of that period of time, if we look at it, was Loi Nagu Kavod Zeh B'Zeh, and therefore, Mamela, there was no more Torah Shabbal Peh. Mochach Mikan, that a person which is not Mechabed Zeh B'Zeh, Al Kochach cannot, you can love them from day to tomorrow, but if no Kavod Zeh B'Zeh to your Chavrusa, you're not a vehicle for Masorah Torah of Torah Shabbal Peh. The Ari writes, yes, it's called Meichen de Katnus. The rewrites, I'll show it to you. I don't have time to say everything, but you'll see in Shar Kavanis, because that was Meichen de Katnus. Constricted minds are constantly in competition with people, therefore they have a hard time honoring people. And Torah cannot continue with Meichen de Katnus, a constricted mind. You need Meichen de Gadlus. A broad mind loves the fact that there are other options. So he has to make a decision. It's very boring when there are no other options. Okay? When basically you're the only guy that says anything, and the guy just says, yes, 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 that's a boring chavrusa. That's dead weight. I remember once Abzisla threw me out of the room. I was tired, and I kept on agreeing. So he says, you go away. He says, what do you want? Go away. He says, I don't need you. I don't need you as a friend. I have friends without you. Mama, she told me, I don't need you. I have friends without you. Your job is not to be my friend. Okay? You know the Gemara of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish? That Rish Lakish died, Rabbi Yochanan was going crazy, and then they bought him someone, and he agreed to everything he said. Says, get the hell out of here. Rish Lakish gave me 100 pirchas for everything I said. That's what I want. So Rabbi Yochanan said, get out of here. I don't need you. To agree with myself, I need you to agree with me. You're supposed to show me where I'm wrong. Well, that's why I developed a certain, become a Rottweiler. Show me where it's off. Okay. Took 10 years to get teeth. But okay, did it. So that's the Agdara, okay? So that's what they were Meichen de Katnus. Meichen de Katnus, it's one way or the other. Meichen de Katnus needs a challenge. It needs broad alternatives, and he'll decide his achra. But Pshat, there's someone to argue with. There's a Gavra on the table. So Pshat, that's Pshat, like Nogel Kavod Zeh B'Zeh. So that's what he writes. The Shar Kavanis writes, if Shmuel Vital, name of the Ari, that was the aside. Meichen de Katnus, and like BaOmer is the lady of Leichen de Gadlus. We'll explain in 2 minutes. What happened? This is the Gemara. Does it mention like BaOmer here? No. It says mi Pesach Vadatzeres. Yes. What did they die from? So it says Mefurish, where they die from? From Askara. Let me show it to you. Mesa Pesach Vadatzeres. Amar Rav Chama Barab of Item Rav Chia Barab and Kula Mesa Misa Ra'ah. Maya Rav Menachem Askara. What does askara mean? It's a throat inflammation which chokes you. That's what happened. So it's not often a Gemara that they died from askara and I Pesach Vadatzeres. Vu is da when da za that they stopped in the middle of the way. Where does this come from? So you go to the source. Beforehand, I want you to see the Gersh of Shuri Goyen. I'd like to, because I mentioned it yesterday, and if you have it, you should have it. So in the Gersh of Shuri Goyen, it describes this in this little edition there. So the Gersh of Shuri Goyen writes in Sif Yud Aleph, if you look on this page here, go to the third column, because that's where the original language was. Hemid Rabbi Akiva Tamidim Harbe. V'hava shmoda ala Tamidim Rabbi Akiva. What does the word shmoda mean? Well, shmoda could be religious coercion, kseris hashmad, or it could mean kiloyon, nishmedu kein doyer, pasuk and Tehillim. Which one does he mean? So Chacham Shir, Shlomo Yehuda Rappaport, son-in-law of the Ksais, the first he was a maskil. He was one of the first thinkers of Chachma Yisrael, which Deris Rishon Azik Alevi really hatcheted him in a very, 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 very well, I think, very wise way. He was bad news, by the way. There are Hagosfim on the Avnei Miluim, because he was the Moitzi Lo of the Avnei Miluim, but you can see it. But Shlomo Rapper was a person which was lo beseder, okay, to say the least. I have his books. Very interesting, but they, so to speak, pseudo-scholarly, big Talmud Chacham, that's the honest truth, but a Chorif. So he was the Rav of Prague, if you really want to know, okay, of Bohemia at the time. So he took this to mean, Shmada means Shmad. Then he went, where's the Gzeres Shmad? Then he looked for places where Chazal call Shmad, and it means the Gzeres of Rebuta by Eloi. So he stuck this to the Adarian controversy, and he put this into Mechemes Bar Kochba, and that's why you all got the story that these guys died because of Mechemes Bar Kochba. It's all Chacham Shir based on his interpretation of the word Shmada. Ashtikul Torah. Ashtikul Torah. Let's look at that's the source. I wanted to tell you that's what it's from. So you should start laughing, because now what does Shir write? Let's see what he writes. He says where his source is. Are we going to say that Shira argues with the Gemara? Since when did the Goyinim argue against often the Gemara when they quote the Gemara themselves at the end of the paragraph? Kideisi Yavam Samach Beis. Oh, he's quoting the Gemara, but he's arguing with half of it? Yeah, that's what Chacham Shir thought. You understand? So when you have these people attaching Lag BaOmer to the Mechemes Bar Kochba, understand the Amaratzis. It's almost vicious. Okay? So what does Shmada mean? Shmada means kiloyon. Yeah, there was a kiloyon. Shmada al Tamidim Rabbi Akiva, v'avesamchas Yisrael al Tamidim Shniyim Rabbi Akiva. And the Jews depended on the second Madur of Rabbi Akiva. Where's this? This is the Gemara. The 5 Talmidim. The BaOmer Rabbanan, now he's giving the source. The BaOmer Rabbanan. The Kul Mesim Pezah Vadatzeres. Vayim Shem Echad Shabayitz Rabbi Sen Shebedorim. V'shon Meir Rabbi Yisrael Rabbi Yehuda B'Shem Rabbi Elazar B'Shemo. V'Meir Yehuda B'Yisrael Shagad Yisrael B'Gemar. So Chacham Shir says, yes, this he agrees with, but the story of the Shema of the Askara he disagrees with. That's why he called it Shema. That's Hashtik is Galzian Shtikul Torah. It's almost funny. He would have said that. That's a Narish guy. There's no mucker for this. If that's why I quoted, I showed you the Deris Rishonim, found right afterwards in wherever your source is. It's in Yemei Dor, the Shalafi Hashmad. It's Shin Pei Beis over there. It's definitely Chelik Aleph, Chelik Revi, Perik Lamed Aleph. It's page 764, if you want to know. Reb Shvir Goyen Bigrasa Yomar. If you go down to the bottom half of that page, he says, Ve'amidr Bekiva Talmidei Rabbi V'avi Shmada. Okay, and then he quotes Kedeisa B'Yavamis. Go to the next paragraph. V'ini Reb Shuri Goren B'Atzma Yisayim Kedeisa B'Yavamis. U'mavur me'atzma ki dvar v'ahem ga hinam divrei HaGemara shom. Okay, lo yuchal liot safek l'shanosh Reb Shuri v'ayah shmada enu loshen ha'ragil sh'alem shmad la'avir mal adas. Menergu sh'ay divrei v'mefurashim Omer Reb Chama Bar Avva Yitema Reb Chiba Avin etc. Misera Askara. Okay, so what does he continue in the next page? Therefore, he writes in the next page, "Ubiyalkut kehelis ala kasuba b'ez razer acha Amar Reb Nachman Yitzchak Ma'izu Askara Reb Distor Bayani Amar," whatever that is, of course. והדבר פשוט שדברי רב שירי הם על לשון כיליון, שנשמדו, כמו לשון הכוסף בתהילים פרק ג' י"א, נשמדו באין דור, וכמו בספר בראשית ל"ד, ונשמדתי אני ובייסי. That's not talking by Gzeir Shmad. Nishmati means I was destroyed. וכמו בכל הכסובים מן זה אשר רבו מאוד, ורב שרירי השתמש בלשון זה לומר שנשמדו מהגפה. ומפני שלא רצה לדבר בגנותם, משתמש בלשון כזה, המשתמע לגוונים שונים. והערכנו בדבר פשוט פני שהרב שיר, שלום יהודה רפפורט, בכרם חמד, חלק ו' עמוד 183, I own it. השתמש בדברי רב שירי אלו להפוך על פיהם את כל סדרי הדורס, ויבואו עוד הדבר לפנינו עד כאן לשוני התורה. Just want you to understand. Now, I quote him because I actually love the book a lot, but this is one of those things that when you see, it worked. Like, we grew up knowing Rabbi Akiva, bows and arrows, Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, that whole spiel, right? It wasn't even at the same time. Weiter. So this is one. So we know, according to him, when did they die? Just want to know. So where is this idea of Lag BaOmer coming from? So the Torah says, well, we'll start with a source which we all shouldn't know, because that's what you learn. Talmud Rosh, the sefer is called Avodrom. So now Avodrom it writes, if you have, I don't know what you have here, the four columns, go to the left column where it's underlined, because Ibn Yarchi, that's the Sefer Amanik. Ibn Yarchi means the son of the moon. What does the moon mean? It comes from Lunil. Lune is the moon in French. Luna, okay? Lunil, they used to call them Ibn Yachi, he's the son of the moon, he comes from the city of Lunil, okay? So basically, the Chachmi Lunil, where the Rambam has a lot of, Marima Lunil, right? We just learned that, right? So once again, the same thing there. So in Lunil, so there you also hear at the time about the Sefer Amanik, there happens to be Gdoile Lunil, and many of the minhagim and Piskei Halachos that we know come from there. The Avodrom quotes him constantly. So he writes, because of Ibn Yarchi, Sheshon Pir Rav Zrachia Alevi, that actually is an accurate, we'll see in a minute. That's the BaOmer. Okay? Shematza Kasa B'Sefer Yashan, Huva Misforad, he found an ancient manuscript came from Spain. Now what does that mean? Another Girsa in the Gemara. Now the Ramban writes in Tshuva that Sifri Sforad are Dafkina. The Sifri Sforad, the manuscripts of Shas and Sforad, they're Meduyak. That's probably where this is coming from. So when did this idea of Lag BaOmer creep in? We're already talking in the times of the BaOmer. Quite late, if you think of it. During the times of the Goyim, no one knew it. During the time no one knew it, Rav Shira didn't mention it. That means Rav Shira did not know this Messiah of the Sefer Yashar. Now that's a pretty serious reality. Rav Shira was Gadlador, and his Shah said, like our Shah says, Mepetzav Adatzeres. Rav Zrachia found a Ksav Yad of the Shas that said something else, and since the Sefer Sforad is Sefer Dafkana, he decided that we're going to follow this. What did it say? Shemesim Mepetzav Ad Proisa Atzeres. Now the problem is, there's no Nekudish there. Does it say price or prus? What does the word price mean? So I bought Jastro for that. Look at your Jastro. There you have it. Do I have Jastro here? I don't know if I have Jastro. Yeah, I have Jastro. Jastro. You have here 4 columns or 2 columns. I don't know how much you have. You have 2 columns? Yeah, good. Go to the bottom. I even explain what it means in Latin. Okay. Price. That's what they chaylam. You see it? Before. With. It's Latin. The word pray, which means before. Okay. Then go to the next thing. Then there's prus. It's not a chaylam. Prus means broken piece. Half. So now what happened is he had a girsa there which says price, it says, which could mean coming towards Shavuos. It didn't die exactly till Erev Shavuos. Kimat till Shavuos. Okay, that means price is a likrat Shavuot. It means basically that period of time not being exact. Rabbi Zrachia, the BaOmer, okay, legitimate, okay, he understood that this meant, no, it means prus. It means a half time. Now let's see this inside. Okay, I want to show you the manik inside because it's even worse. Look at the manik for a moment. We'll see it inside. So the manik writes, it's in Hilchos Eresin v'Nesuyin. Ve'ein minag liknois bein Pesach la'atzeres. There's no, the custom is not to get married between Pesach and Atzeres. V'lo mipnei, you have this thing here. Have it? Ein minag liknois bein Pesach la'atzeres v'lo mipnei she'isur yesh b'davar. There's no isur. Ella leminhag avelis al mashi yirash b'osu ha'perik meisi yud beis elef zugos. So the meaning was from Pesach to Atzeres. Zugos tamidi Rabbi Akiva al shelo nagu covered the lazet. Ava mekadshin. Why? You don't do nesuin, but you do kiddushin. She'ein simcha lebechuppah bekiddushin b'nesuin. Mi shekonas ein b'shum issa ba'olam. Then he says, ach minig tzorfat to Provence. That's how this thing started. Liknois, now it says milamed beis BaOmer, that can't be. And I'll tell you, you'll see in a minute. Here it says lamed beis. Remember, we'll figure out whether it's right or wrong. Shamati b'shem Reb Zerachim Geronda, that's good old the BaOmer. Shematza kosa b'sefer Yoshan Abba Misforat. I'm saying that for a reason. That's why it was dafkenim. Shemesu mi Pesach ad. He says it means mi prus ad seres. My pursa palga. Where's that, man? Kiritnan. Now, how do you decide what's palga mean? So how do you know what it means? Until halftime to Atzeres. So you won't. So what's the problem between 49 days? Cut 49 and a half and make it into that 24.5. No, that don't work well. It means to say, when's the time of Atzeres? So here he added a new piece in there. Atzeres means shloshim yom kodem hachag. You see how the shtickle Torah goes? That's first of all. It means shloshim yom kodem hachag. When does Shavuos start? 30 days before Shavuos. So the 50th day of the BaOmer, actually, when does it become? You need 30 days before. That's called Price Atzeres. Now, but price means when that's Atzeres. So as far as he's concerned, Zman Atzeres is 30 days before Atzeres, which means it basically Yom Chof LaOmer Hepton Atzeres. And remember what's Prus Atzeres? Half of that time. So what's half time? What would that be? What would that be? When would that end? It would end on the 34th day of the BaOmer. Count, take your shoes off, make a cheshbon. But on the 34th day there, the Torah Tfus here. Okay? It means to say that you get married on Lamed Daled because we understand that what? Mesu, my pursa, palges, not shalom v'hilchim yichsach paisel kainim lechad Lamed Yoim. Upalges, chamisha asar yoim kainim atzeres. What's chamisha asar kainim atzeres? Take 15 days from the 49, what do you get? 34. So l'chayre v'zeu lamed. You see, you said you're lamed beis. Now it's lamed gimel. The typos are clear. It means lamed daled. That's the meaning of the Sfardim. Okay, lamed daled BaOmer. That's Ibn Yarchi. Aleph beis nun. Ibn Yarchi. Okay, this is what it is. So now you understand. So l'chayre, the meaning. If this is how this all started. It all started. We did not know this was man hagoyim, and it was not even found in Lonil. It was not found all over. We didn't have this girsa. During the time of the BaOmer, he found a girsa and decided to live by it because it comes from a Sefer Sfarad, and that's how this developed. And so all it said there was the words Price Atzeres. Now, you could have not run away from the previous understanding of all the Doros and said it means Price Atzeres, and things would be beautiful. You didn't do that. You meant Prus Atzeres. Why? Because you thought it was similar to a certain Mishkan Shkolim. Mishkan Shkolim means price, it says there it means taka, shloshim yom kodem hachag, etc. He's coming from somewhere. But he overturned the whole custom that happened before because of his understanding, choosing to read it like the Mishnah Shkom, price and not prus. Excuse me, not price. If he would have read it price, it's the same thing. If you read prus, that's what he read it. By the word prus, all of a sudden it means halftime. And then we understand it with the Mishnah Shkol, it means 15 days before. Well, that comes to Lamed Daled. So nothing, Shimon Yochai is not here, not mentioned, obviously. No one knew about him then, at that stage. Not Rabbi not the Manig, not Rabbi Zerachia. When does he kick in? All we know is Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, which obviously the simcha is. What would it be the simcha of Talmidei Rabbi Akiva? That they died. The simcha is that he continued, obviously, with the new students. The continuity of Torah Sheba'al Peh. That makes sense. Until then, we didn't have anything. Okay? Who said there's even simcha? At this stage, we didn't even know there was simcha. I'll be honest about that. There was no simcha. There's a question of a pseudo avelus, no idea of simcha. No one mentioned simcha on Lag BaOmer at this stage. So this Zman Rishonim, this didn't exist. When did this happen? So let's go weiter.
Wouldn't the simcha be that they stopped dying?
What?
Wouldn't the simcha be that they stopped?
Who said there's simcha? No one said this. Is there a simcha and people stopping dying? After they're all dead, you have a simcha? It's no. Do you make a simcha and, after Shiva because thank God, he stopped dying because he's dead? I said you should be very happy at a Levaya because he stopped dying.
That was the Magay for us.
And he stopped, and they all died, all of them.
Not.
All of them. He didn't have any more students. Then he had to find new students. So you should be very happy that the dead are dead. I suggest we party at a Levaya. Maybe Chassidim do it. I don't know. Okay? But l'chayra, I don't think you take out whiskey at a Levaya. Okay? That's what you're doing. Okay? What are you happy about? The people died, okay, and they stopped dying because there's no one to die anymore. It's not as if at least it stopped in the middle. But the Gemara said they all died. If we would have stopped in the middle, Mela, so happy. Some guys were left. Garnished. He had to start the whole preparations boiler kid from the beginning again, right? That's the Gemara in Yavamis. What to be happy about? No simcha at all. It's garnished. Maximum, there's no avelus so far. So this is where this 33 days, 34 days came in. Now we had 34 during the time of this. Now watch how this thing become convoluted later day in the Rishonim. We know the source though. A girsa of a Sefer Sfarad that Rav Rachia found, and he was the Gadol at the time, and he made it popular. Well, look what happens to it a little later in the Meiri, in Yavamis. It's frightening how this develops. The Meiri suddenly writes, and remember, during the Goinis period, no one knew about this. It became only literally at the time of the Sefer Hamanik. The Ramban doesn't know this. The Rambam doesn't know this. None of the people know this. All of a sudden, when did it become interesting? So look at the Meiri Yavamis. He quotes something unbelievable. I'll just read the last lines. V'talmidim elu huskru kan shekulam mesim pesach adatzeres v'kabola bidei hagoinim. All of a sudden became the goinim. Vu goinim, ven goinim. Goinim? Yeah, kabola bidei hagoinim. A girsa from a sefer that the BaOmer found. And how far is the BaOmer from Rambam, from Erie? 2 doros. He's a counterpart of the Ran. See how things become convoluted? It's so easy. All of a sudden it becomes Kabbalah Da'ago. Unless we understand, he uses the word Ga'inim to mean the older Rishonim. The Rambam uses that language. The Rambam in the Agdama calls the Rif Ga'inim. Well, today they call everybody, today we're living in the Tkufas HaGa'inim. I get letters, Hagoyin. It says, you guys are out of your freaking box. Because I know what a Goyin looks like, you know what I mean? And he sleeps and talks Shas. Hagoyin is a goon, you know what I mean? But as I get this, we're living in Kufas HaGoyinim. HaGoyin, this is Sheva Brachas, this Gav Sheva. I say for Goyinim, there's no Rishonim left. Okay, so he's calling Goyinim means the old Rishonim. That's what it means because people say this is a Kabbalah HaGoyinim. They tell me Moritz. It means to say Rishonim. That's what it means. Who's the Rishonim? Kabbalah there, Rishonim Abrachas. It's not a Kabbalah. It's a girsa that Ksav Yad Rav Zrachia found. The Chaznish would have told him, sit down. The Chaznish doesn't like Kisvei Yad. So he got this Ksav Yad and drove the world nuts. Okay? Kibiyim Lag BaOmer Poska Amisa. Mitoich Kach V'nir and they Noyegu Mitoich Kach Shalol Lisanit Bay. Now that's a Pella. Why Lo Lisanit Bay? Here we suddenly have a new minig which is not brought into Ramanik. We don't do tainis then. Why don't you do tainis? Because they stop dying? That's the tzorach here. Likely, we continue to get married, that's nice. But why Lo Lisanit Bay? Here's the first place where you have, say, minig brought down. He's also from Provence. That all of a sudden, there's some kind of sin. It doesn't say we dance and all these other things. Lo Lisanit Bay. Why aren't you saying tachnu? Is there a Rashbi mentioned here? No. They stopped dying. So what?
Aren't there shittas that they kept on dying afterwards also?
So far we haven't found them, right? Are we he's quoting the Gainim. We read the Gainim. We read the Sefer Hamanik. You want to create shittas? Do what you want. I'm trying to read what really happened. Okay? I tell you, all this is on your storybooks. Weiter. So what happens here? Now, look how this Gainim becomes a medrash. It goes further. Okay, it suddenly becomes a medrash. Look at this. Tur, Tov Tzadik Gimel. We're going pretty late so far. All these sheetas, we're already culmination of the Dors HaRishonim. No one knew these things, you understand? It looks like whatever happened is nowhere. Naigim b'chama kama shalei lisa isha bein pesel atzes v'atam shalei laharbes b'simcha shebois izman mesu tamidi Rabbi Akiva. Period. That's mi pesa v'ad atzeres. Etc. And you look at the end of that halacha, line before the last, v'chein kazeh ha'ira goinim. V'yesh mekom shenagos lili staper. V'yesh mistaprim milag BaOmer ve'elach. Sha'imrim sha'az paskul lamus. Yesh sha'imrim. Who is this? This is l'chayra. L'chayra, it shouldn't be lamed. It's not true. It should be lamed dalet. Where's the lag coming in? If the makar is the sefer gafkin of the Sfarad, and you do the price, it's not lamed gimel, it's lamed dalet. Where's lamed gimel coming in? That shouldn't be there. They finished dying in lamed dalet. So let's look at the Beis Yosef. Let's look at the Beis Yosef in Ois Beis. Again, we learned about him in his famous drush on Yontif Rishon Shel Pesach. He's saying our minig in Turkey. I just showed it to you. B'Shem Ibn Yarchi, which we just saw inside. B'Shmosha Razah, which is the BaOmer. V'chein kosev gam Ibn Shoeb, Talmud Rashba. Okay, which is okay. It's even younger than the BaOmer. That's what it is. Shamati sheyesh b'medrash. Just you understand how a ksav yad becomes a medrash? So medrash obviously doesn't mean medrash Robert and Chumah because there's no midrashim on that. It means divrei agada. Okay, but it doesn't think that it's a girsa in the shas. Otherwise, you would have said it's a girsa in the shas. No, it's some kind of addition. So if although we could, now this may be historically true, that not that it was a girsa in the shas that he found, but ksav yad yashim, as far as not a girsa in the shas, some kind of added notes. Anonymous notes written by X that we don't know what it is, that he calls medrash. That's all this is. Okay? Shemeisu mi pesach at prusa at says hu tesvav yaim kaidem at seres, turning the page. Ki amram bishkolim at prusa pesach prusa chag shem chameshes yom benissen ubetishrei shitasa etc. etc. Now he says shitasa chamishas yom ma'arbaim v'teisha nisharu shloshim v'arba. V'nehem shloshim v'shlosha shleimim u'megalchim b'yom lamed dalet ba'bayker, which is the minig of the Sfardim, based on the Ibn Lanil, on the Sefer HaManik. That's the whole malker. There's no reason for me to take a shave this morning. He mixes the yom kekule ad kan l'shoni. This is the Talmud Rashba. V'chein kaseu Sefer Adam v'chava, which is the Rabbeinu Yeruchim Talmud Rosh. Nesiv a hutag kain. Because the kaseh Rashbas b'tshuva, because lefiza kol yom lag BaOmer osir. Umixes lamed daud lefi das Ramban mixes laila sagi etc. V'yesh tahativ yom lemgimel imu erev Shabbos choy. This is the halach of Platon Shulchan Aruch. The Maaseh, if you're going to depend on the Sefer HaManik, there's nothing happening today. It's all tonight. Actually, tomorrow, because Mitzvah Kekula is only from tomorrow, not even tonight. It's supposed to start from tomorrow morning. And today is Gornish. So far, and we're talking the time of the Beis Yosef. There's no Rashbi, there's no nothing, and he's saying the whole halacha is lad de BaOmer. So far, we really have no source for anything happening today. Who's matir? The Beis Yosef isn't matir. He writes, what do you read? Maybe you'd like to read again. Why about if it's Erev Shabbos? Because covered Shabbos. We're makers. It's not really an avail. It's just a minute. So covered Shabbos. What's the problem? It's a kasha. The fact of the matter is, I'm not finished yet. Let me roll a little bit. The fact of the matter is, but this I repeat, is all based on Ibn Shoev and the Ibn Yarchi. There's actually another approach, which will give you another date. The approach so far, before we go further, Bar Yochai is not mentioned. He's not part of the story. The question is the finishing of the death of Talmidei Rabbi Akiva. Obviously, that's not a reason for being happy. It obviously alludes to the continuity with the 5 Talmidim. There's no other way of understanding this. The transition, I would use Lashon the Ari, from Mochin the Katnis to Mochin Degadlus. You want to make a simcha that today is a transition from Mochin Dekatnis, or tomorrow, to Mochin Degadlus. Broad thinking in Torah versus constricted thinking in Torah, which creates petty jealousies. That's basically the transition of the day. That's all we know so far in the primary sources. Now, I'll show you when Shimon Bar Yochai finally kicks in, and it's a typo, but we'll find it. Oh, I have to go. I really have to go. I have to go. I have 5 minutes. I won't be able to finish this. So let's go further in this. Now I'll show you. The Maril is really interesting. Maril believes there's no importance at all of the day. He doesn't know about Shimon Bar Yochai. He only says they died 32 days. They died during the whole period, but only 32 days in those periods. He decided out of the blue they didn't die in days that there's Tachanun. He has no source for this. And so therefore it comes out, and he actually makes a mistake, the Bach points out. If that's the case, it should be a day less, because he counts Yom Tov twice. You'll look it up in the Bach. The mistake here in the calculation, the Bach already discusses that. But he has his theory that they died the whole time, they didn't die in days which they have Tachanun. He boils down, it comes out to be that they died for 34 days. And since because only 34 days in the period where there's no from Pesach to Shavuos where there's no Tachanun, and there's a mistake. It's 33 days. So according to him, actually we should be celebrating. So he's off by a day, okay? But naniach, that's his cheshbon. So there's no value of the day. It's just a day symbolic of the amount of days that they died. They continue dying later, but symbolic of the fact that they only died for 32 days. That's the approach to the Maril, which is Nusach Ashkenaz. Once again, no Bar Yochai. He does not believe in this price Atzeres business, price. The Maril went with the rate. They died the whole period of time. That's the other Shita. But they died 32 days within that time, where he creates this new measure. They didn't die Yom Shem B'Tachnun and Lazem Makor. The answer is now, what really happened here? So I'll show it to you. In Lag BaOmer, if you read in the Shar Kavanis, he really describes, he thinks, he's talking about, he actually follows the approach that they stop dying, so to speak, on 33 days. How he gets it, I do not know, because it's not the morning. The morning should be 34. Okay, there's a day missing in his thing. But he says, what's the idea behind it? He mentions one other thing only. Look at this carefully. Go to, if you don't mind, page Kuf Tzadik Aleph. I'm going to have to do this very fast because it's late. In minik shenogel yisrael lech b'yom lag b'layim la'im al kivei Rashbi. V'blazer b'nai asher kfurim b'yom Iran v'ochlim v'shotim v'smechim. Ani reiti l'mori sholech sham pamachah b'yom lag BaOmer, etc. What's the idea? And he describes a story how there was a person that went there and said Nachem, and Reb Shimon told the Ari that he's going to die. You can read the story; it's very interesting. Finally, he writes at the end. Look where it's under. V'kasavti kol zeh lo wrote. Last few lines on the left column, the first paragraph before the Dalet. V'kasavti kol zeh lo ki yesh shorsh b'minag hazeh niskar u'befrat ki Rashbi hu michamesh talmidim hagdolim shebi Akiva. V'lechein zman simchase b'Lag BaOmer kfi shebi'er le'el b'yom Lag BaOmer. What did he write there? He wrote in Lag BaOmer there was a transition from the first Madur, from the Mochin Dekatnis to the Mochin Degadlus. He started teaching the next 5 group. This was the beginning of the new yeshiva. This was the beginning of the continuous Torah Sheba'al Peh in a format of Mochin Degadlus, not Mochin Dekatnis. Does he mention that Reb Shimon died? Does he mention a yard side? This is the Ari, for goodness sake. This is Shar Kavanis. No, we don't even know when he died. In the Zohar, it doesn't say when he died. Where is the source that says where he died? The answer is in Sefer Priyetz Chaim. One of the Talmidim, Reb Chaim Vital, wrote, in Tfus Dubrovna, it wrote, Yom Shemes Rabbi Shimon. But in all Kisvei Yad of the Priyetz Chaim, it says Yom Simchas Rabbi Shimon. There's a ches missing in Tfus Dubrovna. That's what happened. Basically, all the kids say Yom Simchas Rabbi Shimon. It's clear from this Ari that we just read that he did not die then, because then why would he write the reason we're going is because he's one of the 5. Adar, from the Ari's Mefurish, it's not his yard site. What is it? It's Yom Simchas. What's the Simcha? The Ari writes the Simcha. Because he's one of the 5 that started. You know what? I have to leave, so I just want you to look at the last page, which I printed out. I typed it out. You should have it. It's in. It's a page like this. This is the Chidah. Okay, the Birkei Yosef brings these things, but this is the Chidah in Tamaris Ayin. Just read this. Masha Kosav Birkei Yosef Siman Zed Yesh Misha Kosav. The Ptiras Rashbi B'Lag BaOmer Chen Kosav Prietz Chaim Ach Far Noida B'Nuschos Kisvi Ari Aya Irbu V'To Usoifer. V'Anuscha Amit is Nuscha Shmona Shorm. That's the Kavanas. Shesida Arash Vital B'nai Sharach Marchu Ubshar Kavanas. Herich B'Sod Yemei BaOmer. V'Tam Shemesach of Dalad Elef. I told you because the Meichen Dekatnus. V'Achar Kach Itchilu Lamdu Hey Etz Rabbi Akiva. Reb Shimon, Reb Meir, etc. V'hi Simchas Rashbi. V'kosav sheyesh shorish b'simcha zu she'osim v'arich b'zeh v'lo b'ab pirush lo mashu p'tirat Rashbi. V'efshar she'akavana k'mo she'kasav ani b'teiv ayin to b'yom la'megiva yidchel limud Reb Akiva the Rashbi v'chavei v'duk eitev. It's a chidah. It happens to also be a pri chodesh. If you look in pri chodesh, he writes the same thing. That's the chidah, and this is muchach from the Shar Kavanas. Here I want to point this. I write my own language. Iyer told Be'Peretz Chaim November told it was the Bravna. This is what I just wrote. Shekilkel v'hit was Yom Shemeis b'nkom Yom Simchas, and this was after his taking the Chemdas Yomim, and finally went to the Yaris Dvash, and finally went to the Alter Rebbe and the Siddur, and finally went to the Bnei Yisoscha and to Reb Tzadok. So that the whole Chassidish Olam is based on Tfus the Bravna, which is simply a mistake. Okay. And now there's another book on Lag BaOmer from Rabbi Yosef Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai. He taki has the same maskana, and he writes because of that. Mahai tami yesh li shtatech gam betfei es Rabbi Akiva, Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda bar Eloi. There's no difference because it's the Yom Simcha of the continuance of the 5 Talmidim. Enough. So there's no makom for this yard side business and all that. Yes, it's a big simcha. The Torah Shabbat continues with Meichen Degdלות, which means to say, how do you celebrate it? By learning Torah with Meichen Degdלות, not wasting your time going to forum and dancing around like a chicken without a head. Ad kan, L'shoni HaTorah. Bye.